do not seek attention. We pay attention. We are often judged by award committees. We question the fiction in science fiction. We are going places and virtual places. We are NYIT, and the future is ours.
Hello everyone and welcome. We're here to do a Facebook Live to talk about bad gifts and how to avoid them. My name is Giuseppe Evangelista. I'm a fourth-year student in the School of Management at New York Institute of Technology, and I'm currently majoring in marketing.
Hey everyone, my name is Ashley Russo. I'm a senior here at NYIT. I'm in the School of Management, and I'm getting my bachelor's degree in business marketing. Me and Giuseppe are currently taking a class with Dr. Deb Cohn, and it is called the Promotion in Management. Today we will be talking with Professor Cohn in regards to one of her areas of specialties, which is gift giving.
Dr. Cohn, Ashley, and I know all about your background, but it would be great if you could share some more information with us.
Okay, thanks. Welcome everybody to the Facebook Live. So I'm Dr. Cohn, and I have a Ph.D. in marketing from City University of New York. And I've been teaching here at NYIT since 2010. I also got my MBA here. I happen to love NYIT. It's a great place. I love working here. And two of my favorite students.
Thank you.
So we're here to talk about some of the research that I did on gift giving, and particularly the last article that we had published about bad gifts and why people give them.
And this is a perfect time to discuss this because as Black Friday soon approaches, there's a lot of hype behind it, and the aspect of gift giving, it correlates with it quite well. So we're going to be focusing on how gift giving can sometimes harm a particular relationship you have with a person by giving them a gift in comparison to strengthening it. I mean, I'm sure we've all gotten gifts that we probably don't like, but you have to play it off like, you know, you enjoy the gift, but in reality you're like, why did this person give me this gift? So that's what we're going to be discussing today.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so it's really true that people, when they get a gift, the first thing they're trying to do is figure out, why did this person give me this? So if it's something that they really like, it strengthens the relationship. It's like, oh, they know me, they love me, they got me something I really like. And if it's something that you don't like, it's like, what does that person think of me, and why did they give this to me? And now what am I going to do with this thing now that I have it?
Yeah, this is true.
So to answer the question of why people get gifts that they hate, in your research, you interviewed people thoroughly about the gifts that they have received and the context in which they received them and their reactions to them. Can you expand upon that a little bit?
Sure. So I did two forms of research. One was in-depth interviews. I interviewed 30 people. They were really 15 couples, husbands and wives. I put them in separate rooms. I interviewed them separately because most people don't, when they get a gift they don't like, don't usually tell the other person that they didn't like it, because that's, one, it could hurt their feelings, and two, it could prevent them from getting a gift at all the next time. So eventually what happens is, if you keep telling somebody, that's not what I wanted, you didn't do this right, that's not a good gift, the other person finally throws up their hands and says, you know what, here's some money, you pick out a gift for yourself. And so for people who don't want that to happen, they're very careful about protecting the other person's feelings, but then they're caught in this conundrum like, how do I wear this sweater that I really hate? Or what am I going to do with these earrings that or I have to put this thing out of my home, I'm going to keep it in my closet, except when this person comes over
and
then
it
comes out. So we'll find ways to deal with some of the things that we get when we don't want to hurt the other person's feelings.
So if I could ask you, what was it that sparked your interest to like start doing this research and uncover, you know, what you found?
So there's a couple of influences that I've had that pushed me in the direction of this research, but mostly I think it stems from a really crazy childhood experience that, sorry Dad if you're watching this, but here it is. It was one year, my dad, he tends to be pretty funny, he likes to do practical jokes, and he tells a lot of jokes, he's funny, and he thought it would be funny to give his, I don't know, 6-year-old daughter a gift that was a box and a box and a box and a box and a box. And there was so much anticipation, and I was opening each box, and it was really exciting. It was like every box got smaller and smaller. I kept thinking, what could possibly be in the last box? And the last box was empty. And I cried my eyes out, and I never forgot that. And he thought it was funny, so he was laughing. He thought it was, and it was April Fool's Day, so it's, you
Rightfully
know.
so.
But
Yeah, rightfully so.
it wasn't funny. And I've repeated this story to my family now quite a few times. So one year, my mom got me this cute little thing. It was 3 boxes, and in each box there was some chocolates. And she said, "This is to make up for that because we love you." And you know, but anyway, it's great because it sparked this research. And I thought to myself, I don't think he intentionally wanted to hurt me. I think he just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But I do see that there are gifts where people do intentionally want to hurt the other person. There's hostile gifts where they really don't like the other person, or they feel obligated to buy this gift, and they just don't care what they give them. They just know that they're going to be at a big celebration where something has to be opened. They have to have something to present, or they're trying to change the other person in some way. So they give something and they say things like, "I want you to wear these clothes," and they know full well that the person doesn't like that style of clothing, but they're trying to change that person and mold them into something that makes them more comfortable, the giver more comfortable.
And the person receiving the gift a little bit more uncomfortable while they're opening the gift.
Right, because what are they going to do? They don't, right. So then, if you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, if it wasn't hostile, then you don't want to hurt the other person's feelings. But and some givers don't mind if they bring it back, so they make it easy for you. They give you a gift receipt. They say, "Look, this is where I bought it. I did my best. I don't know."
Yeah.
They try. So that's the question, whether people hold on to these things or leave them alone. And the really big question is then, what can marketers and retailers do to avoid the day after Christmas where everybody's trying to return things? So there's things you can do up front, and then things that you can do after.
Understood.
To add on that, as you mentioned, retail, this is the most profitable time of the year for retailers. It accumulates to the 20% of their profits that they receive between Thanksgiving and Christmas time. And me personally, I love shopping for gifts. I am that shopper. I love to give gifts. I love to receive. I love just shopping in general. But I'm very eager to hear about how gift buying can have harmful effects on the person receiving the gift. So before we get into questions, please make sure to like this post so more people can see it and more people can watch. And let's get to it.
Okay, so what was the question?
The first question is, do you enjoy shopping for gifts?
Do I enjoy shopping for gifts? Yeah, no. No. So what I really do, because I don't enjoy specifically saying this is a gift shopping experience where I have a list and I have to get all of these people gifts, throughout the year whenever I see something, I'm like, that's perfect for my kids, that's perfect for my husband, that's a good thing for my mom, and I accumulate things in a room that I have that I specifically put aside, and I hide them there, although people
The gift room.
Yeah. The spot. And a lot of people have that where they put their things, and I buy things that are specific for people, but sometimes I'll see something on sale and I'll say this item could be sort of a generic item for people. Because I don't enjoy the whole, okay, now I'm going to go shopping for other people as a big activity during the crowds and that thing. So I try to find things during the year. And I think marketers should encourage that behavior, because retailers, even in July, can say, we're having this sale. This would be great for these kinds of people. Good to pick it up now for a holiday gift, so that they're helping. They're ahead of the game.
Yeah. All right, so we have a question from Libby, who's asking, this is a great topic. What do people end up doing with all of these gifts that they don't want? Do they re-gift them, or do they usually return them?
Okay, so re-gift is one, but you have to be really careful when you do that, not to not to do what my mother-in-law did, which is she had she gave me a gift that said in it, dear, she was a teacher, so dear Mrs. whatever, I had a great year, thank you, and then she gave that to me. So I saw that, so you have to be careful not to do that, and so if you're going to regift, try to take it into another so that nobody knows where it came from. And I think marketers can certainly help people with that regifting process by when they sell the gifts, not putting gift cards inside the box, so that it can be done. And some people leave them in their closets, only take them out when they need them. And marketers do help consumers by creating situations in which they can exchange their gifts. Like, remember, I think it was McDonald's or Burger King last year, after Christmas did a thing where if you bring in a gift that you got that you didn't like, they will give you a free hamburger. So it generates
really
traffic
cool.
into their
That's
stores.
really cool.
And so that's a really great idea for marketers who can generate traffic by saying, bring in one of these things and
do a little exchange.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool.
I have a question. So you previously mentioned before that people give bad gifts out of spite and in order to harm the other person. Why would somebody give a gift out of spite and out of harm, and what triggers that? And can you give us some examples of that?
Okay, so some of the things I found in my research was there was this couple that really didn't like each other, and I found out afterwards they did end up getting divorced, and so they would give gifts to each other that they really wanted. It's like, I'm going to give this to you, but it's something I want. I really want lawn furniture, so I'm getting you this lawn furniture, and now we have it in our home. And particularly in that case too, the woman said she got that lawn furniture. She told her husband that she didn't like the cushions and she didn't like the pattern. So that was on Mother's Day, and then her birthday came up in the middle of the summer. He gave her more of it. So, it's just because he just didn't care about her. He wanted to do that for himself. And there's other reasons that people would just throw up their hands and get something that might harm the relationship because the couples are fighting, or even they just don't know what to do, so they do things that'll help themselves or send some kind of message like, here's a new dishwasher. Now, can you do the dishes more often? And, people don't like that.
All right, so Leroy Bear says, Virginia Beach is here. What's going on, Leroy? How are you? We have a good question from KM. She's asking, in your opinion, is regifting an unwanted gift socially acceptable, or would it only be okay if no one found out? What do you think?
That didn't really come up in my research about this, whether it's socially acceptable. What do you think?
Like you said before, I think that if you're regifting something, your main goal should be to try and make sure that the person receiving the regift doesn't know it's a regift. Because if that was happening to me, I think I would probably be a little offended by it. Think maybe like, oh, you didn't have the time to actually pick something out for me, or you probably would have been better off giving me nothing instead of something that someone else gave you and you didn't want. So I guess it really depends on the person, but I probably would be a little offended.
What would you think?
Me personally, if I didn't have any use for that specific gift and it really wasn't in my liking, I guess you could say, and I think it would be a good gift for another person and I think it would fit them well, I would do it. I think I would.
Would you tell them?
Probably not. I don't think I would tell
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
But I think I would give it to them if I find that they could use, they had a better use for the gift than I did personally.
I guess it's also depending on the context of the gift. So if there's an obligation to give someone a gift, it's their birthday and you're going to a party or something, and then you tell them, well, I regifted this, I got this and I didn't want it, so I'm giving it to you. But if you do that separate from a standard time of gift giving, so it's not somebody's birthday, but it's you gave them a Christmas gift already, and now it's a week after Christmas, I got this thing, and I know you would love it. Sort of backing off of how much you hate it, but I know you would love it, or this doesn't fit me, but it will fit you. then it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
It's because it's not replacing a gift you're supposed to give
And
them.
you're not trying to
It's kinda-
hide it. I feel
right.
like you're being open about it, saying, well, I got this, and it really doesn't suit my lifestyle, or maybe it doesn't fit me, or I can't find a use for it, but I know you would be able to use it, so I'm going to give it to you. That kind of, takes the place of it being kind of, not so nice,
Right,
and
right.
making it kind of, nice.
Right, and I think marketers can think about that and try to take that into consideration and then create times where create a new ritual, right? Because gift giving is a ritual, and if we study it as a ritual, we can then think culturally. If it's not accepted culturally, how do we create something that can be accepted? Where marketers can then say, okay, this is the new post-Christmas ritual, and have it be a very positive experience still.
Speaking about rituals, we were talking about the ugly sweaters and how back in the day the ugly sweater was like the absolute worst Christmas gift to get. But now, people are intentionally giving people ugly sweaters because it's become like kind of like a phenomenon where like people are actually having ugly sweater parties, and it's like an event for everyone to get together and have like a great time. Like, do you think that there are like any other products on the market that can probably like over time kind of take that same shape and evolve into like a new cultural phenomenon like that?
I'm sure there are. If we put our heads together, we could think of them and
Yeah.
make recommendations to marketers for gifts that people get that they tend not to like, to have it bubble up and be
Something
the
huge,
bad,
yeah.
something unique, like the. I remember a time when fruitcakes, people would give fruitcakes around Christmas time.
Yeah.
So instead of them having completely go away, maybe make fruitcake parties, maybe infuse them with some vodka, then make them actually. I don't know if I should have said that to students, but but something to that effect, where now you're creating something more interesting around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm sure there are other items where marketers can think about their own products that can then become attached to a new ritual.
Yeah, I think that
So-
would be cool.
Yeah.
So we have a question from Julie. Hi, Julie. So she asks, give your spouse a new car season. Is that kind of a bad ticket item ultimately a bad gift?
As a big ticket item, ultimately a bad gift. I think that, again, it depends on the nature of the relationship. So if my sister says hi. If a spouse wants to give their spouse a gift of a car, it would be a bad gift if the spouse takes the train to work and likes to sit on the train and gets a lot of work done on the train, and then for some reason the husband wants, or the wife wants the husband, I'm going to give you this car because I think you should be driving so that on your way home from work you can pick up our child at child care. So if it's like trying to create some kind of extra message around it, but if it's like, I know you want a car and I'm giving you this amazing car so that you don't have to take the train to work anymore because I know you'd prefer to drive because the train schedules aren't consistent with your work schedules, well then it's a great gift. It's really, if you want to send a message of care and love, it has to really be in the nature of the relationship.
So you're saying it's more so based in the intentions behind the actual gift,
Right.
because there could be good intentions and there could be bad intentions.
Right.
So I guess it really just depends on the motive of the giver.
It depends on the motive of the giver.
Yeah.
And when we get gifts, it's a natural phenomenon. It's called attribution theory. We sit down and we go, why did this person give this to me? That's what people try to figure out all the time, because a gift is a symbolic action. It could either be symbolic or it could just be pragmatic and economic. Here's a gift card. This is pragmatic. I know you need the money. But if you're trying to say something to somebody, then you want it to be a little more clear, and you want it to have that message that you want it to have. And that's, some of the bad gifts are sending a message that they want to send. Anyway, you're welcome, Bettina, for the gift last night. Thanks for tuning in.
So Briley asks, should you confront a bad gift giver?
Oh, that's a really good question. So in my research, sometimes people did confront, and sometimes people did not. I think, again, it depends on intention. If you think the person got you that bad gift intentionally because they were trying to say something to you like, yeah, here's a car, now I expect you to do the grocery shopping when it used to be somebody.
Yeah.
Then you can confront them and say, really, is that why you got this for me? And maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe that's not at all why they got it for you. Maybe because gifts aren't a clear message, there's a lot of symbolism behind it. So if you think it's a bad gift and if you ask them nicely and say, this is what I'm reading from this, is this what you intended? And then then it could spark a conversation. If you're in a good relationship with somebody, you can have that conversation.
So it is based basically off of how strong your relationship is with that person, you know, so you're more likely to confront, you know, a brother or a sister than, you know, a friend maybe, or an acquaintance or something like that.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't use the word confront. I would more say, like, have a conversation. You don't want to set it up. You don't want to put somebody on the defensive. You want to say, hey, I was feeling like this was intentionally to get me to do something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And the person can then say, oh, I didn't think you'd read it that way. Or, yep, I expect you to, you know, and then you can have that conversation.
Yeah.
So the next question is from Bobby, and he asks, do people consider gift cards bad gifts? Are there any drawbacks in regifting gift cards or gift certificates?
That's a really good question.
It is.
So there's two schools of thought on that. I had a paper published in the Journal of Business Research in 2010 that looked at the people who think of, one of the things was about gift cards, that it's really more of an economic exchange that's trying to pretend to be a symbolic exchange. And for people who prefer to get gift cards, it's a really good gift.
Yeah.
And so again, it's looking at who the recipient is and how well you know them. And I would be, most people are, I don't even say most, it depends on your outlook on life. Some people would prefer to get those gift cards.
I like gift cards.
I do too.
Yeah, I like gift cards.
Depends on who it's from, though.
I would expect to get a gift card from somebody who doesn't really know me that well or know my interests as well, but I would appreciate it on the same level because they're giving me the opportunity to go get what I would want, you know?
And do you prefer the gift cards that are like more generic, like a MasterCard or Visa card, or do you prefer the ones that say, hey, I know that you like IKEA, so here's a gift card to this store?
I like the ones that are more specific, so like say IKEA or say like a retail store that like my friends know that I like, because then that means they know a little bit about me in comparison to them just giving me like a MasterCard gift card and it's like, here, like just spend it. Those are nice too. I'm not saying I wouldn't, you know,
I would
want
definitely
one.
take it.
Exactly. You have to be really careful because you don't want to give the impression that don't give me anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I think I'd be more happy with the more specific one because it means they know a little bit more about
Yeah,
me.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
My pet peeve with the gift cards is that they expire. So, one, with regifting gift cards, my daughter actually recently got a gift card for her birthday that was clearly a regift because it had expired.
Wow.
And so somebody had it lying around the house. They never used it. They gave it to her. It was a $50 gift card, but when she went to use it, it had been expired, so she couldn't use
That's
it.
a little
And
embarrassing.
she did not go back and tell them because I said, don't go tell that friend. They may be embarrassed. You don't want to embarrass them. They're a good friend of yours. Just let it go.
I guess it all boils down to the relationship.
Yes.
It really does.
To somebody else, you might be able to say something
You
to
know, like
them.
what's going on with the expired gift card.
Right,
Yeah, like-
right. If you're close with them and you feel like it's an okay conversation to have, they may
Yeah.
not have realized that it expired when they
Yeah.
were regifting. So that's the issue with regifting a gift card.
So Robert asks, what about asking recipients for a wish list?
So a lot of retailers today are providing the opportunity to create wish lists. You can do them on Amazon. There's like bridal registry gift wish lists, and again, it depends on the relationship because some people just want you to try to figure it out on your own, and within some relationships, it's a great opportunity to be able to discuss the things that you want. And I think people who want who provide a wish list and then want some kind of symbolic message will embellish it in some way. Have it, if somebody requested a new, I don't know, something for their car, or let's say somebody wants a new, like the Apple Watch or something, and then they say, okay, I'm going to get you this Apple Watch and then this beautiful case, or I'm going to give you like also a gift card to download great apps for it, or so a little something unexpected that goes along with it, and then
it shows that that person actually cares or would like to see you. They go the extra step to show that their intentions are the right ones.
Right, and then what marketers could do, so if Amazon lets you create a gift list, they can then provide, here are some extra add-ons for you. If you're buying if you're buying someone this thing, what goes great with it is this, so that you can still have that element of surprise that is gifty.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have another question from Libby Sullivan, and she asks, how do brands make sure their image is not tarnished if they experience lots of returns through no fault of their own?
Well, you really do have to make that return experience a positive experience. So somebody comes into, if they want to send something back that was purchased online, you have to make it easy for them. You have to be kind and considerate while they're going through that process. And they also, so it won't tarnish the brand, so that it doesn't fall on the brand if the return process is easy and you allow them to maybe pick up something else while they're shopping.
So what would you recommend if someone tried to return something to a retailer, but that retailer ultimately told them that they cannot take that item back?
I think retailers need to find ways to give consumers other options. So one of the things that I recommended in my research is creating opportunities for donations. So if somebody comes into they say, okay, bring everything back in, bring back your gifts that came from us, but if you don't have a receipt or if it was a re-gift from something from a few years ago, then we'll give you a donation credit for it, so that can help somebody in a particular way. Or here, we can take all of these toys back, but we're going to donate them to one of the companies that give
I feel like
toys.
they have to get creative with it. Like you referred to Burger King before. That's a great way for retailers to show consumers that they are going or taking the extra step to working with them and kind of working with the consumer, so if there is no use for it or they have no use for it, that they can find somebody who would have a use for that particular item. Mm-hmm. It's really cool.
So Iris Edo Zucker asks, how about an after-holiday gift swap party for the gifts that aren't liked by the people that have received them?
Hey Iris, thanks for tuning in. So I think if you're having a holiday gift swap party, those are good ideas, but don't invite the people to the party who gave you the gift that you're swapping. So have it with a different group of people, and everybody knows who's coming, and everybody brings a gift to the party from somebody who didn't give them that gift, because otherwise, you're letting people know how upset you are with the gift that they got. You don't want to do that.
That could be very awkward.
It could be
the party.
Do you have any advice for someone who's tempted to use a gift to send a message to somebody else?
I mean, gifts are a symbolic message, right? People interpret them, and if you really want to tell somebody something, you should just tell them that something. Yeah. And if you're using a gift to help you tell them, make sure that in the telling, it's like in giving the gift, it's part of that story. In the telling, that you make sure that the person is, you get some feedback from them, so that you make sure that they're interpreting it in the way that it was intended.
Yeah.
And if it was intended as a bad gift, like, here are these clothes and I want you to dress like this, or here's a gym membership because you're overweight, then, maybe try to say it kindly, and, and if you're butting heads with somebody, I think the best, I think retailers need to get involved in trying to find out why people are giving those gifts and to edge them along to being kinder to each other.
Do you think there's any way that retailers would know if someone's buying something with a good intention or a bad intention?
That's a really good question. Can a retailer know?
Or would there be like
Yeah.
a way that they can try and find out through their own research?
Yeah, I think salespeople can be trained to ask the right questions,
Yeah.
to say who you're buying this for, what's the nature of the relationship,
Yeah.
do you think they're going to like it,
And
what do you
kinda
know
gauge.
about them,
Yeah.
to kind of direct you to answer those questions. Hey, Bettina, sure, you want a water bottle? I'll get you one. These are actually really
Yeah.
cool water bottles because look what they can do. And you can use it for a smoothie. Bettina, this is going to be your Hanukkah gift.
So Julie asked, this is a big time of year for donating gifts to charities. Are there gifts that people should avoid when making those charitable donations?
You mean like giving in terms of charities? Well, if you're giving money to a charity, there's nothing, that's always good. If you're thinking about giving toys, I think you need to, there was I saw published today a list of all the toys that are a little bit more dangerous than all the others, so just try to avoid those
Yeah.
kinds of things that might be dangerous for the people that you're giving them to.
Yeah, that's a good one. So Betty Cohen asks, there is a joke that if you are bad on Christmas, you get coal. But now, there are ways to send joke bag of coals. Do you think this item applies to what you just said? Yes. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Betty. That whole bag of coals thing. Yeah, people think that sending jokes around for holiday gifts is funny. My personal experience has been that sending joke items as gifts is not funny. Like, if particularly for a parent to a child, because what the research shows is that it's part of the socialization process. So kids are learning about who they are based on what the parent has given them, and we are trying to teach and train our kids to be a certain kind of a person. So if it's a joke with the bag of coals, then you're kind of saying, you've been bad, I'm giving you this. That's kind of not nice for a parent to a kid, but on the other hand, it could be funny between a bunch of like college students
Yeah.
or the frat boys. As long as it's not a joke gift, as long as it's not replacing some real gift you should have been giving that person. Like if it's their birthday and they're expecting a real gift, then and then they get this funny thing. I mean, it's funny maybe tied on to the top of something else.
Yeah, those are typically called gag gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten a few of those in my day.
And how
not
did you
fun.
feel?
Not too great about it, honestly. Kind of disappointed, but at the end of the day, like you said, it really depends on who you're getting the gift from. So if it's a joke and it's a joke, then it is what it is. But like if you get something like that from your parents, it's going to make you feel kind of bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give the bag of coal, it'd be really fun. So retailers should say, you want to buy this joke gift? That's cool. But we're going to open up that bag of coal, and inside the bag of coal is a diamond.
Yeah.
Now that's
Yeah.
cool. So there's ways to turn it around so that you can still have that jokey feel to it, but also give somebody something that's really more appreciative. Right, because Betty can attest, I know she's watching this, I said Betty can attest that when she wanted the American Girl doll when she was 10 years old, and I insisted on giving her the Golly Girl doll because that was the gift that I thought she should have, that other doll didn't go over well. And I've learned from my mistakes.
Yeah. So we have a great question, I think. They're asking, is there any research being done on whether gifts that are cheaper but more sentimental, are they better than the big expensive gift, and do you feel that people prefer one over the other?
Again, it depends on the nature of the relationship. So if somebody's getting if somebody's expectations, right? It's all about managing expectations. So if somebody starts expecting that big gift from you, and then you come in with something else, then that's not going to fly.
You think even if it had that sentimental value behind it? I mean, it depends on what it is, obviously, but I feel like if it's a lesser, or a less expensive gift, but it holds more value, yeah, I guess, it's not that great that it's a big expensive gift, but, if it came out of good intentions, came from the heart, and I guess they would have to express that, maybe they would be more receptive to it.
I think it has to do with really managing
It
expectations.
depends, yeah.
I mean, if you're building it up that you're going to get somebody something,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
then you
drop them off a cliff, so to speak.
Yeah. And marketers are always trying to manage expectations because retailers, even let's say it's like, marketers don't need to build up how great a product's going to be, and then when everybody gets it, it's not that great. And it would have been fine if you kept the expectation at a lower level. So marketers have to always manage expectations, and I think people can learn from marketers about managing the expectations. So if you keep telling, I got you something great, I got you something great, I got you something great, and then you come in with, this is the most, I wrote you this poem, and it expresses how I feel, and I've put it in a frame for you. Maybe they were expecting an engagement ring, so that's not going to go over well. So it's about managing those expectations.
Definitely.
So we have a question from Katie Cole, and she asks, so how would you address someone when they ask you about the gift they got you that you ended up returning? That's always awkward.
Yeah.
Has that ever happened to you?
It's awkward.
No, but I'm just saying if I was in that situation, I would feel very awkward and I wouldn't know how to respond.
Has it ever happened to you?
Definitely awkward because Katie calls my girlfriend asking about returning gifts.
So, I wonder if Katie's ever returned anything you got.
I don't know. Maybe, probably.
Have you returned anything she got you?
Only if it didn't fit.
Only if it didn't fit. So I guess there's a conversation you can have with somebody if you're about to return a gift, saying this doesn't fit, or I can't wear that color, or if there's something inherent in it, but if you returned it sort of behind their back, you want to redirect that conversation and
Absolutely.
Make sure it doesn't come up, because if you did it and you didn't want them to know, then
they ask you, where's the gift?
Where's the
you
gift?
don't know what to say.
Before you do it, you may want to explain. Before that happens, it's better.
I feel like it's always better to be honest with the person. If you
Yeah.
didn't like the gift, be like, oh, maybe we can, find.
Go
something
return
else.
it together.
Yeah, and pick out something.
Right. I love this purse, but it needs to be bigger for me to wear
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
exactly.
And then
Come up with a valid excuse as to why
right.
we need something a little bit different, and yeah. So honesty is always the best policy.
Absolutely. So we have another question from the audience. Jorge Sariego Zapico says, in my opinion, regifting is a good way to reutilize things that you are not going to use. But the question would be, is that ethical regarding to the feelings of the person that gave you that gift?
Well, ethics are really, is it ethical? So ethics have to do with things like, there's different standards of ethics. It's a good question. We want to say that things are ethical if you're not hurting people, or that also there's ethics that say, instead of don't hurt anyone or hurt the least number of people, or there's ethics that say the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So on the one hand, if it's going to hurt somebody's feelings, that's not so good. But on the other hand, if you have something that somebody else is really going to love, then sure, go ahead and give it to that other person, because it's creating a greater good. But so ethics is an interesting thing. You want to not hurt anybody's feelings, but you also want to create a greater good. I guess the difference is if you take something that you really hate and you give it to somebody else who they're not going to like it either, or you suspect they're not going to like it because it's something nobody would like, then don't regift it. Just consider it a loss.
Yeah.
Every gift doesn't have to have your personal economic value. It doesn't. You can just give it to charity, and you can have the retailers help you. Retailers should be able to manage that process.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely avenues to donate to the less fortunate, and I think that's really, really important at this time of the year. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, you know what? Katie says she never returned anything.
Yeah, we know.
You can ask her about it later.
Yeah. All right, so I think that's it for today. To learn more about NYIT School of Management, please visit nyit.edu/management. It was great talking with you today. I learned a lot. It was a great experience, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah,
No
thank you for
problem at
having
all.
us. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Take care.
Not many people think about how similar our nervous system is to an electric circuit. But as bioengineering students at NYIT, we can't help but see things this way. The secret bioelectric conversations between the stomach and last night's meal will soon be decrypted. We are NYIT, the Stomach Whisperers. And the future is ours.